You ever notice how some people walk through this life as if they have been written into a never-ending drama play? Every little thing becomes a crisis. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and suddenly it is treated like a personal attack. A friend takes too long to reply, and suddenly it is betrayal. The barista gives the wrong order, and it feels like a strike against their dignity. But then there are those rare, almost mystical people who move through the world untouched by this nonsense. They pass through life like a calm breeze, unshaken by the noise that swallows everyone else. Someone insults them. They shrug it off. An unexpected setback arrives. They adjust with no complaint. It is as if they live on another frequency than the rest of the world. And now the real question must be asked: what knowledge do they hold that the rest of us have not yet grasped? Because let us be honest, most people stumble like human pinballs, bouncing from one reaction to another, ruled completely by whatever surrounds them. If the weather turns bad, their mood collapses. If someone ignores their text, their worth crumbles. If a stranger looks at them strangely, they spend the next 3 hours analyzing it like a detective building a case. And truth must be spoken. We have all been that person at one point. Maybe not every day, but enough to know the suffocating weight of giving meaningless events too much space inside our mind. So what separates the reactive from the untouchable? It is not luck. It is not some divine birthright. It is not the work of saints meditating on mountaintops. It is one simple truth. They refuse to keep playing a game that was built to enslave them from the beginning. Most people walk through life chained by a deep misunderstanding of where feelings actually come from. They believe the outside world dictates their emotions, when in truth, it is their own interpretation that shapes their suffering. Let me break it down in the plainest way. If someone flips you off in traffic, you stand at a crossroad. You have option A. You take it personal. Let it eat your whole day. Rant about it to anyone who will listen. Or option B. You shrug. Assume that person carries heavier problems than you can imagine and move forward the same event, but two completely different realities. The only difference lies in the meaning you chose to give it. And here is the wild truth. This applies to everything in life. That one harsh comment from a stranger only cuts if you give it weight. That rejection only stings if you let it define you. That single bad day only ruins a week if you keep replaying it like a broken reel. The fact is, most of what tortures people is not happening to them, but inside their mind they are trapped in cycles of reacting instead of choosing what deserves their energy. Once you truly see this, not just in theory, but in the heat of real time, everything changes. Suddenly, the world stops being a force crushing you and becomes an experience you shape on your own terms. But then comes the harder question: how do you actually flip this switch? Because once you do, life will never strike you the same way again. Here is the secret. It is not about what happens, it is about the meaning you attach. But knowing this is one thing, living it is another. Because when life hits you with something that feels personal, when a person disrespects you, when a situation drips with unfairness, it is far too easy to throw aside all wisdom and go back to raw reaction. So how do you train your mind to become immune? How do you walk into that place where nothing and no one steals your peace? It begins with a single yet powerful change. Stop giving away your energy as if it were free. Most people hand over their inner calm like leaflets on a street corner. Some random voice online throws an insult, and they spend 2 hours fighting in their mind. Someone looks strangely in public, and suddenly every conversation of the day is replayed like a courtroom case. A small inconvenience strikes, and the whole day is declared ruined. It is like running a business and giving away the entire stock for nothing. At some point, you must begin charging. You must ask yourself, does this person's opinion pay my rent? Will I even remember this nonsense a week from now? Is this problem mine, or am I simply carrying someone else's poison? Because 9 times out of 10, the things that drain us are just other people's projections. Someone is rude, that is their failure. Someone doubts you, that is their small mind. Someone disrespects you, that reflects them, not you. And think about it, every time you react, every time you give away your peace, you are saying, here, take my power, I do not need it. But the truth is, your peace of mind is your greatest currency. And those who truly win in this world, those who stride unshaken, they learned most things are simply not worth their energy. Here is where it becomes more interesting. When you stop reacting, when you no longer feed negativity, when you stand unmovable, something changes. The people who used to provoke you lose their grip. The things that once ruined your day barely make a sound. The weight of the world lifts because you stopped carrying burdens that never belonged to you. Once you taste that freedom of mind, there is no return. But we must go further, for it is not enough to be unaffected by the world. We must also bend the world in our favor, and this is where the real joy begins. Here is the truth. Most people do not want real control over their emotions. They say they want peace. But when irritation comes, they take the bait without hesitation. The boss sends a sharp email, and suddenly they fantasize about quitting. The phone battery dies at 1%, and they shout that the universe is plotting against them. It is as if they take pleasure in being ruled by their own reactions. They say, I cannot help it. That is just who I am. But here is the decisive fact. The moment you stop reacting, you win, not just in private life, but in every arena. Think about it. The most powerful figures in any setting, be it negotiation, social exchange, or conflict, are those who remain calm. The moment you lose control of your emotions, you hand over leverage. If someone knows they can trigger you, they own you. If a situation can crawl under your skin, it commands you. If your emotions are forever chained to outside events, then the world writes your reality. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine becoming someone who no longer bites the hook. A passive-aggressive comment meets no flinch. A test thrown your way returns silence. Life throws its obstacles, and you adjust and move forward. This is not ignoring problems. This is refusing to let problems own you. And once you hold this stance, others sense it. They test you less. They respect your ground. And more importantly, you begin to choose with intention and reason instead of knee-jerk emotion. Because here is what few understand: when you react emotionally, you live on autopilot, and autopilot people are easy prey. Marketing machines feed on your impulses. Toxic souls thrive on your buttons being pressed. Systems of control are built upon those who cannot detach. When you react, you are predictable, and predictable people are simple to rule. But when you refuse to be swayed, when you observe rather than react, you gain what most never will: true freedom. And in that space where nothing outside dictates your inside, you begin to live for the first time. Perhaps you now wonder how to actually build this way of being. And here is where it deepens, because it is not about memorizing the truth. It is about rewiring the whole response system. So let us examine it together. We already know that reacting emotionally hands over your control. The harder part is, how do you actually train yourself to stop reacting? Because if detachment were simple, all would have mastered it. The truth is, most do not even see how programmed they are from childhood. We were wired to react instantly. Insult demands defense. Frustration demands venting. It is like living life with an exposed control panel where any one stranger boss or passing comment can push buttons and command you. But what if you could disable the panel entirely? This is emotional immunity, not ignoring feelings, not becoming stone, but training the mind to break cycles of automatic response. The first practice: observe, do not absorb. Most people are sponges. They soak up whatever surrounds them. If someone is tense, they become tense. If someone is rude, they feel attacked, but the observer stands apart. Imagine you are at a coffee shop. The barista snaps at you. The usual person absorbs it. Why is she cruel? What did I do now? Their mood is hijacked, but the observer sees without absorbing. She must be carrying her own battle. The event still happened, but it did not enter your system. This is detachment, letting the world move around you, not through you. Second practice: master the pause. Every bad choice is made in the heat of blind reaction. Emotions bypass logic and hijack the mind. The solution: pause. Someone offends. Pause. Anxiety rises. Pause. Urge to fight. Pause. That breath of stillness gives your brain a choice: react by habit or respond by will. And in that choice lies power. Here is a simple trick before you answer. Ask, is this worth my energy? 99 times out of 100, it is not. The third practice: starve the drama. Drama lives only when fed. Gossip spreads only if people react. Toxic people stay only if they get a rise. Arguments grow only when both sides join. When you stop feeding the fire dies. Imagine someone tries to bait you into conflict. You smile and walk away. They are left powerless, because the truth is, those who provoke are not seeking truth, but control. And when you give nothing, they lose everything. This is why the most dangerous person in any clash is the one who does not bite. Once you live this way, respect follows naturally. People test you less, and those who try learn fast. You are untouchable. But some will ask, what about when emotions feel overwhelming, when detachment seems impossible? And yes, that is the wall most crash into, because habits built over years cannot be broken in a single night. But here is the secret. It is not about suppressing emotions. It is about reprogramming how they are processed. The first step: treat the mind like a muscle. Emotions are not wild beasts to endure. They can be trained. Some remain calm under storms, while others collapse under light winds, not by miracle, but by training the nervous system. Your brain carries patterns carved by years. If criticism always led to defense, it will repeat. If stress always meant panic, it will return. The path is to interrupt the cycle. Each time you feel the old reaction rise, try the opposite. Irritated, respond with calm. Defensive, choose silence. Panicked, take a deep breath. Your brain will resist. It will scream. This is not how we do things, but if you persist, the pathways change, and one day you realize what once triggered you no longer holds power. The old response has died. That is victory. The second step: control the story in your head. Most people are ruled not by events, but by the tale they tell about events. So, next time something cuts deep, ask, what story am I telling? Is this interpretation even useful? Because 9 out of 10 times, it is not. The third step: emotionally disarm others. When people expect a reaction and you give none, you break their hold. Someone insults you and you laugh. They are left empty. They say you never care, and you nod proudly. This is emotional judo, flipping their attack into nothing. When you refuse to be controlled, you send the strongest message: you have no power over me. Nothing enrages those who wish to rule your emotions more than realizing they cannot win. And the less reactive you become, the more respected you are, because every test is a question. How much control can I have? The answer you give is none. At the end of all this, the truth is being unshakable does not mean never feeling emotions. It means refusing to be a slave to them. It is the choice. Each time, do I let this define me, or do I define it? And once you stop reacting to things unworthy of your energy, you begin to live on your terms, and that is when life truly transforms. So if these words strike something within, hold on to them, because the moment you begin practicing even a little, you will feel the chains loosen. This is only the beginning. There is much more to be done, and we will continue together.